Hello everyone, good morning, I hope you're well. Welcome back to my YouTube channel and our next Thrinchie. We're now on Thrinchie number 9. So we've done 8, 2, 4, 6, 8, and I'm loving these little miniature pieces of art. So we're on Thrinchie number 9. And I'm going to use, she says, stamp set TE16 Artsy Alphas and Numbers. I'll just place that back and bring the stamp in. And I'm going to, let's bring some kitchen roll in. I'm going to use Morning Mist VersaFine Claire. And I'm going to ink the stamp sort of, I don't need to go right at the top, but sort of the central area-ish. So I'm just inking that with the Morning Mist. And you can see that I'm giving lots and lots of tapping to the stamp. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of kitchen roll and I'm going to dab the edges of the ink that I've just added. So just so that, get a clean area, so that when I stamp, it is diffused a little bit. So then I'm going to stamp this on here, like so. And I've not put it on an acrylic block, I'm just stamping it as is. And you can actually hold the stamp there and lift it to see you've got exactly what you wish. And I have, I've got exactly what I want. And I'll just lift this up and show you. Let's just clean the oil off there because I have cleaned my non-stick craft sheet several times. And you can see that it sort of fades out. So it's not harsh. So that's why I dabbed it with the kitchen towel. So we've now got that in the grey. And then I'm going to take, whoops, one of my circular templates and decide on a circle, whichever one you wish. Do I want that one or do I want a nice bigger one? No, because I want some, I don't want the whole of the text to be in the circle. So I'm going to use the smaller one. So that's about 2 1/4, about 2 inches. It's entirely up to you what you use. You can draw around a jar lid, a glue jar, anything that you have. And then I'm going to draw around the circle. Actually, I'm just going to go all the way through, just so you can see it. There we go. So we've got a lovely circle around about sort of, 2 inches-ish. It doesn't have to be precise. Then got my my paintbrush, and I'm going to use fossilised amber and mustard seed. So I'm going to take the fossilised amber, take some water, and for once my brush is actually clean, which is actually a miracle. And I'm going to add the fossilised amber over. Now I want it a little bit richer than that, so I'm going to place the circle back over. I want to place the circle back over. Which, getting it in the right position is sometimes the hardest bit. And what I'm going to do is I'll just use a bit of, oh, this is not good. Bear with me. Should have. This will do. So I'm going to use a blending brush with the fossilised amber, and what I'm going to do is just add it so that the colour is a little bit richer. That's better. Sorry about that, just nudged the camera. So then, just so that it looks a little bit more watery, I can then come in and just add a little bit more of the colour with the water, because that will react and just sort of give it a more watery feel. I'm then going to use some mustard seed. Let's use our mustard seed and just come in with a little bit of the mustard seed. There we go. So I'm just going to, you can mop that up with another piece of card or another Thrinchie if you wish. And then, I don't know why I've got brown out, but I need grey. Just to give me a little bit of a darker edge. And I can already see that because I've added the water, I've got a little bit of that oxidisation. So I'm just making sure that my brush is clean. And just to give me a darker edge, I'm going to take hickory smoke and just give me a little bit of a darker edge, just so it looks a little bit more shaded and coloured. And this will just make it a little bit darker. And you know that I always say that when I'm colouring, I will add layers anyway. So I'll probably come back and add more layers. So we'll just leave that at the moment. And then I'm going to take the floral from Alpha Florals. And obviously I'm going to make it shorter. I'm not going to use the whole floral. So I'm not going to use the whole floral. And then I'm going to use Sand Dune. So I'm just going to use the Sand Dune ink. I don't need it too big. Let me just check. That'll be fine. So I'm going to use the Sand Dune. And then I'll just stamp this onto my spare piece of card. This means I can colour it however I wish then. So it works quite nicely for me being able to colour however I wish. So let's have a look at our colours. So what colour is this? There you go, yellow ochre, which is rather a nice colour. Maybe some yellowy colour. And then you want a little bit of darkness. So shall we have a bit of the grey to give me, what does that class as? Cool grey. I would like a warm one. There we go. So I'm picking Inktense pencils that are sort of in our similar colour scheme. So let's give them a sharpen. We have Lemon Yellow, PC915, Terrible Light this morning. Then I've got Yellow Ochre, just giving them a sharpen because I do like to work with sharp pencils. There we go. I didn't give you the number of the yellow ochre, which is 942. And then for a touch of darker shading, warm grey 50% warm grey, PC1054. Right, so then I'm going to start, I'll do the grey later. I'm going to start with the yellow ochre, PC942, and just add some of the yellow ochre just over my lighter colour. And it just changes the feel of the floral because it is no longer black, which it looks on the packaging, which is absolutely fine. So it's no longer sort of the black. It shows you how you can change your stamps quite easily. I'm just going around here. I'll sort out the middle afterwards. I'm then going to go to my lemon yellow, PC915. Just blend the two colours together. And as I add the yellow, I can see instantly that I want to come a little bit further down with the ochre colour, which is fine. I can do that. I'm not pressing too hard. So you're building the layers by not pressing the colour too hard. So I'm sort of coming a bit further up with the ochre colour. Now if you press really hard, you've got nowhere to go. You can't then add further layers. So I'm going to come in with the yellowy colour. And that's why that sand dune is so effective. I'm then going to come in with the warm grey and just add a little bit of the warm grey just to give me a little bit more darkness, just like I did on the circle. Just going to come in just at the tips here. And it's allowing me to add more of those layers because I've not pressed too hard. Just add this at the edges. There we go. So then I will come in with my ochre, going in to that grey colour. Just to blend the two colours so that there's no harsh edges. Now obviously normally you blend sort of your colour families, but I do like adding a little bit of a darker shade. Let's add a little bit of the yellow just to our stem. And it's wonderful because it doesn't need much colouring. Now, where am I? Don't think I've got a stipple brush. Bear with me. it'd be nice just to have a little stipple brush. Oh, I know where. There we go. So you can then, if you wish, dot the centre with your Posca pen, if you wish. I'm going to use a little bit of paint, and I'm even going to put it on my card, so then there's no clean up. And then I'm going to take a little stipple brush, just squeeze it a little bit so it's not too big. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of the white, just to stipple the centre, just whilst we cut that out. We've still got some more to just do to that. And then I'm going to cut my floral out. And because I'm doing a Thrinchie, I don't want to add too much sort of bulky, thick adhesive under that. So in other words, like my pin flare, because I don't want to add too much dimension to my Thrinchie book so that it isn't too bulky. I'm leaving a white gap just to set everything off a little bit. And whilst I'm cutting this, the white paint that I added to the centre will make the colours that I add just pop. And I sort of go in and out, so it's a bit more realistic rather than going round just in a perfect circle. There we go. This could quite easily be a birthday card. You could make it a journal page and extend it a little bit further. And if you want to make it into bigger projects, just add more details, as in a couple of flowers rather than one flower. A couple more stampings of the background stamp. It just gives you a little idea. But I'm finding these little pieces of art quite addictive. There we go. So you can see how it stands out a little bit more and how it differs when you look at your packaging. It looks completely different. It's all how you play and treat your stamps. So I'm going to just add a little bit of the dark just at the base here. Just at the base of the... Now I've got that texture on there with the white paint, which is lovely because it actually gives the centre of that floral some texture. Now what I'm doing is I'm going round, sort of doing little circular motions just to add some of that dark in there. So just sort of circular motions, and then I'm going to go with the ochre just to add a little bit of the ochre just in a circular motion, just so that you've got that on there. And then you can go back over and add a few more dots of your Posca pen. Make sure it's working. You can add a few more dots of your Posca pen now but it's got that texture on there from the paint, just to make it more realistic, and it works really nicely. So then I can add my floral just here. So let's add a little bit of adhesive. Let's take the little bit of adhesive, add a little bit to the stem. I'm going to add this here, like so. And I'm not sort of, what you can do is you can leave a few sort of petals, you know, so that they're not completely flat. It's still got some life in it. So I've not sort of stuck those leaves down here. So there's a little bit of life in that. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of shading just underneath there. Let's take a little bit of the water and just add a little bit of shading, and then let's add a little bit of shading underneath here, and take this and just add that shading. Now, when we're doing colouring, obviously the Thrinchie is going to take a bit longer, but I'm not going to rush just because I'm doing a little bit of colouring. So then I'm just going to take a smaller circle. So it's probably 1 inches, the circle. You can use a 1-inch hole punch if you wish, if that will make it easier for you, because then you can just punch that out. I've got a one hole, yes Tracy, a 1-inch hole punch, but I'm not going to get it out because I'm not hunting for something else. So the Thrinchies that we colour and we do proper colouring, it's obviously going to take a little bit longer. It's just, you know, what it is. So I'm then going to take the stamp again, take some grey ink. Let's move that paint, just diffuse the edge a little bit. And then we'll just stamp the circle. There we go, just so that it's a little bit diffused. And then I'm going to use the pencil. I'm going to add a little bit of the warm grey just to the edges. Now just be mindful that it is the colouring that is going to take you a little bit longer, because there's still pieces of art. You don't want to rush your colouring so that it doesn't look like, just because they're small pieces of art, they are completely rushed. You don't want that at all. So using my 3 colours of pencils, I'm just coming in and just blending the colours, just coming out a little bit more with the ochre, and just blend again into the colours. So every time you use the colour, go in and blend a little bit more. And come with the ochre. Just blend a little bit more. Then the yellow. And then I'm just going to use my white pencil just to drag some of that out. And the reason I've used pencils on this one, just so it's a little bit richer in colour, rather than the background where we've used the oxides. So I'm then going to take a little bit of adhesive. Let me just, do I want it on? So I'm going to, yes. I do have to faff a little bit. It's just what, it's just what I do. I'm just going to add this here, like so. Really, you would let that dry and set so that it's not moving for you, so that you don't get frustrated because the actual circle's moving. We're going to add a little bit of shading just underneath there. I just love that. Now I'm going to take this card and then I'm going to add my black edge with my Posca paint pen. Just so that it's got a nice finish. There we go. Let's turn this around. And the only reason I'm doing it on a piece of card is to save cleanup. Now obviously I've got my floral here, so I shall just go over. Let's bend you forward a little bit. Now what you could do is you could add the black first if you wish. You could add the black edge first. There's always that option. So let's remove this floral, and then you look for the stamps. I must have left them in the packaging. No, they're there. And then I want to add a little bit of a sentiment. So I'm going to add the Beauty of Flowers from TE4. The Beauty of Flowers. This stamp is so well used. And Tracy spent ages faffing with the plastic. What have I just done with that piece of card? Let's use this little bit here. And now I'm going to use black ink just so that that's uppermost. Let's move these all out of the way so you can see what I'm doing. Again, I don't really need to press too hard with the sentiment. Oh, some of my fabric scissors. Oh, nearly. Wrong scissors. Again, you can cut the sentiment up so that it's separated. You don't have to keep it all together if you don't wish. There we go. So we'll add this now to my project. Just there. Just move that a little bit. Honestly, I can even faff with a sentiment. That's it. Then I want to add a little bit of shading. Now you've got that oxide ink under there, so just be aware of the oxide ink. It's going to react. That's what it does. And then just add a little bit of shading just underneath, and then we'll add our Posca paint pen. If you're worried about touching the sentiment, then just add a piece of card so that you don't go over the sentiment. That is then our Thrinchie finished. Let's add this to our little book. So let's just stick that down. Again, let your Posca pen dry before you try to stick it down, because you'll end up in a mess. So let's add the Thrinchie just here. And the minute it goes into that book, it just looks finished off. Let's just, that's better. There you go. And there is Thrinchie number 9. So I hope you enjoyed that and you'll give it a go. Love to all, and I'll see you all soon. Bye for now.